Record on this. Hi guys, we have had a few little bumps in the road, but we are here. I'm here with Bronte May. She is a naturopath. She's someone who came to my retreat at the start of the year. I had the pleasure of meeting her just this year. Feels like a lifetime ago. And I was just super impressed with the way that she had healed herself from Graves' disease through nutrition. She was like, I'm not going on medication, I'm not having surgeries, I'm not dealing with that kind of stuff. And her really simple and practical approach to nutrition is why I've invited her to speak to you guys today. And it's a goodie treat time because she's actually prepared some more info just on the foundations of health, not just nutrition. So I'm going to throw to her. I'm kind of just going to be sitting here listening to all the goodness and maybe throwing the odd question in. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Bronte.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to have a chat about this stuff because I love it.
Yes.
So I might just dive in. Thanks for the intro. So when we're talking about foundations of health, what I like to say to people is, if you imagine that your health is a chair and each leg on the chair represents an aspect of your health. So one leg will be your nutrition, another your movement, another would be your stress management, and the other one is your sleep. So if you think about your own health and each of those aspects, which leg of the chair do you actually need to pay more attention to and nurture so that your legs of your chair are sturdy, i.e. your health, the foundation of your health is very strong and sturdy. So I'm going to dive into each aspect of that and just give a little explanation about what we can do to improve those different legs or aspects of our health. So nutrition. You want to be eating whole foods, always whole foods. Avoid things out of a packet if you can. Obviously avoiding sugars and things like that, anything processed. But yeah, just fresh food, but you want to be having variety. So variety means variety of types of food. So say, for example, this week you bought broccoli, then for your greens next week, go and grab some kale or go and grab some spinach. If you haven't eaten something purple for a while, go and grab some purple carrots, some purple cabbage. But what I like to say to my clients is eat the rainbow. When you look at your plate on each meal, you want to see all the different colors of the rainbow in there, but you want lots and lots of variety. So you want to be trying to get to, at least 40 things a week. A lot of us are not getting anywhere near that, but you can be getting things like your nuts and your seeds, they're considered a different type, or your different fresh herbs. Your dried herbs are not considered as one point, but your fresh herbs are. So, put some parsley, put some coriander, put some basil, put it all in there, but each item only needs to be a tablespoon to be considered 1 point, right? So it's not like you have to have like this huge plate that you're not going to get through. Just put lots of little things in there. And keeping it simple. I do promote organic just because I don't like the chemicals and pesticides on things. And so that leads me to talk about the Dirty Dozen. If you haven't heard about the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, we're going to pop a link to that for this call. So you'll find that in the notes that Bianca puts in.
Yeah, here somewhere.
It'll be there. So the Dirty Dozen, they do the Environmental Working Group. They do a test each year on all fruits and vegetables, and they test to see the level of chemicals that are on each of those fruits and vegetables, from herbicides and pesticides and things like that. And so the ones that are really high are put into the Dirty Dozen. So they're the fruits and vegetables that you absolutely want to be buying organic if you can't buy all of your fruit and veg organic. And then there are the Clean 15. So they're the ones that have the least amount. And so you don't really need to worry too much, even if you're buying all organic for everything else and you want to save some pennies. Then the Clean 15, you can avoid buying organic if you choose to. I tend to buy most of mine organic, but when I started on this journey, I stuck to the Dirty Dozen. And then I started to stretch out the list and went, oh, well, one, it's sitting at 11 and 12, it must be still pretty high. So I tend to absolutely no ifs, no buts, no maybes for the first 20. But that's just me personally, but start wherever you're at, just start where you're at. And with health, it's just, you can't make all the changes at once. So you just do what you can. So this week you're deciding, okay, I'm going to choose the dirty dozen, or I'm not even going to worry about that yet. I'm just going to stick with knowing I'm going to have variety in my meals and get used to doing that. So just start with where you're at. Don't be hard on yourself. You accumulate knowledge on along your journey when it comes to health. You know, when we know better, we do better. The other thing I love about nutrition is making sure that we don't eat too close to bedtime. So when we sleep, we want our body to rest and repair, not be digesting our food. And so I'm a huge advocate for light meals at dinner or having a soup at dinner. And then again, when you're making your soup, put all the veggies in. Like, I don't even go by a recipe when I make a soup. I just like chuck all the things in and make it with bone broth. And bone broth is super healing to the gut. For anyone who's vegan, you can do vegetable broth, but having that every single day to, you know, give your stomach the best chance at healing and maintaining health once you have healed your gut. And so that's a huge thing. Like when we're eating stuff out of the packet and we're eating sugars and we're drinking lots of coffee and we're drinking alcohol, this all disrupts our gut. So if you think of your gut as like the fuel tank in a vehicle, and it has holes in it, right? So if your car fuel tank has holes in it and you're pumping gas into the fuel tank and it all spills out, the car's not going to go very far. And it's the same with knowing what is the right fuel to put in. So say you rock on down to the gas station, you're like, oh, damn it, like gas is so expensive today. Stuff it, I'll just put water in. Like, it's still a liquid, right? And so we'll just put water in. And then chug, 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 you get down the road, you're not going to get very far. And it's a bit like that with the food that we put in. We've got to put the right fuel in for our body. And so things that are man-made and all of that, that's not made for our body. These are things that have come after real food was on the planet, right? These are things that man has made. And so it doesn't support optimal health and it causes inflammation. And so the first step to optimal health is your gut health. It's linked to everything. It's linked to your immune system. It's linked to your neurofunction. It's linked to the health of your skin. It's linked to your energetic levels. It's linked to the health of your thyroid. It's also linked to sleep. If you have poor gut health, you may have poor sleep, right? And you're going to have poor digestion, which backs you up, and then your skin gets bad and you have other hormonal issues. And it's like this knock-on effect. But it all starts in the gut. So Hippocrates was an ancient Greek physician, and he said that death starts in the gut, or disease starts in the gut. And that's why every single client that comes to me, and it doesn't matter what their issue is, whether it's got to do with their skin or their thyroid or their joints, it comes down to their gut health. And when we heal that gut up, then all the other things start to heal and your body enables itself to come back into that equilibrium, that balance. And that's why it's so important that we're doing these things consistently. I think that sort of summarizes the nutrition bit. And then the others are probably not as long as an explanation, but movement. Movement is so important for our health. It helps with your digestion. So you really want your digestion to be working well, right? And that comes back down to the gut health. So movement helps with that. Movement helps with detoxification. We want our body to be detoxifying properly. So you want to be able to sweat well. And you want your lymphatic system moving. That's what movement does. So your blood system is pumped by your heart, but your lymphatic system, which is part of your detoxification, it will only move if we move. So this is why movement is so important. But it's also good for like your endorphins. Like, you feel so good. Like some days you're like, oh, I just can't be bothered to exercise. But when you get off your ass and do it, you just feel so much better afterwards, even if it's like 10, 15 minutes. So it just helps. And especially at this really weird global time, a lot of us are feeling a lot of stress. And so moving our body helps us to reconnect into ourselves. So there's so many beneficial aspects to us moving our body and just doing it for a short amount of time each day. Like before, when we could get to the gym, maybe I don't know where your audience or the people in your group are from. They're mainly in Sydney. If there's anyone in Melbourne, you can't get to a gym.
No one in Melbourne. We got Paris, Adelaide, and Sydney.
Yeah, right. Okay. So maybe some people can still get to the gym, but many people in Melbourne, I just recently left Melbourne, like we couldn't get to the gym. And so it was just, being consistent with having that movement at home, and going for walks when we could go out for walks. Now people are sort of limited with that as well. But yes, the movement's super important for our stress levels, for detox, and for how we feel emotionally. And so then that brings me to stress management. I think, having stress in our life is part of the human experience, but we need to be able to manage that. And so finding a way that works for you. So whether it is through meditation, whether it is through breath work or journaling, or maybe your exercise as part of your stress management. I have found through this whole ISO thing that chanting has been super powerful for me. I just sit there and every morning I do this Om Shanti Om, and it only takes a couple of minutes and it just opens up the throat chakra. It just brings me back into my center. It helps me to earth, and it only takes a few moments a day. But stress management is so important because when we have high stress, we then have high cortisol. When we have high cortisol, it lowers our melatonin, and melatonin is your sleep hormone. So then it's going to be affecting your sleep. But it doesn't just affect that, it'll affect your digestion, which then affects your detoxification, which increases inflammation, right? See how there's like a knock-on effect and everything fits together. So that's why all 4 legs of the chair need to be loved and nurtured so that the chair sits steady. So stress management and doing that consistently. I think the best place to start, if you're not someone who, enjoys or feels that they can meditate or they find it more challenging, just simple breathing. And all it is 3 to 5 long, deep breaths, and ensuring that the out breath is longer than the in breath, because when the out breath is longer, it then activates the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is part of the parasympathetic nervous system that gets you into your rest, digest, and repair. And so that will just bring us back into that really relaxed state. And so when we do that, I think the best way to activate a new habit is to attach it to an old habit that we already do. So something that you already do is you go to sleep every night, right? And you wake up every day and you eat. Now, these are the 3 great times to attach your breathing exercises. So wake up and just do your 3 long, deep breaths, and maybe a beautiful gratitude practice. Be thankful that you have that breath. Be thankful that you had your comfy bed to wake up in. Be thankful that you get to go and step into a shower. Just these really simple things. So that can be part of stress management as well, is gratitude, being really thankful for what we have, even though some things are really shit right now. Like, there's no denying that. Some things are really shit, but there's always something to be thankful for. You may have a good friend, or you have your family, or you have your children, or you have a beautiful garden to look at, or you have fresh food in the fridge. Like, just really appreciating the simple things. So wake up, do 3 to 5 long, deep breaths before you go to bed. Do that as well, because it just allows your body to let go. Like, if you're someone who struggles to fall asleep because you're so stressed, even talking to your body, and with that out breath, you can just say, let go, relax, sleep. Just talk to your body, and you'll be surprised how your body will actually respond and listen to that. And then 3 to 5 long, deep breaths before each meal. Because if we're in this fight or flight, go, 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 your automatic systems within your body, so your breathing, you'll notice your breathing is shorter. Your digestion shuts down. So even when we're eating food in a stressed state, we're not going to absorb those nutrients that go into our body. You're not going to absorb that fuel. So your body won't be fueled, and the food will sit there and it won't break down, and you'll feel heavy for a long time. You may get constipated because your digestion's not working well because you're in this fight or flight, go, 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 go. So just 3 to 5 long, deep breaths, close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, put your hand on your stomach, and just breathe into it. Or imagine breathing into your feet, because that really, really grounds you. But again, your out breath is going to be longer than your in breath, because it's the quickest way to get into that rest and digest and repair. And so when you're doing that before each meal, you're going to be benefiting your digestion, right? Like I said. And then another one that I'm going to bring in, it's not one of the legs of the chair, because there's so many aspects to the foundations of our health, but I spoke about the 4 main ones that most people would know about. But the other one is connection. And that is connection to self and to others and something greater than self. Whether you believe in God, angels, or whatever it is for you, but believing that there's something greater than us going on here. We are not just it. But coming back to that connection with self, I like to say to my clients, imagine you have children, and then imagine that you employ a nanny to look after your children. And that nanny is talking to your children the way you talk to yourself internally. Would you keep her employed? And I think it's a really powerful question, because it goes, oh, okay, so how do I talk to myself? Am I like, get the fuck on with it? Or what did you do that for? You're so stupid. Blah, blah, blah. Like, or is it like, oh, that's okay. We went off track there, but you know, it's the next moment and we'll get back on track. You know, like, are we really kind and encouraging to that inner child within us? So that connection to self is so, so powerful. Like being really loving and doing really loving things, like doing all these things of nourishing the four legs on the chair, that is really a deep form of self-love. It's not like, oh my God, I have to do this. That is a deep form of self-love and appreciation. And then you can show up as the best version of yourself when you provide that to yourself. And then the connections that we have with others is so, so powerful. So, you know, are your relationships with your partner and your friends and your family and your colleagues, are they positive relationships? Like, how do you speak to each other? What environment are you in? Do you use your voice when you feel that somebody has crossed a boundary of yours? Or do you just get really angry and not say anything? Because when we don't have strong boundaries, that's when we have strong boundaries, sorry, that is another form of self-love and self-care. So these things are important, you know, and make the changes as you feel comfortable, but sometimes push yourself out of your comfort zone to lovingly use your voice to someone and go, you know what, I don't feel comfortable with that, or I'm not okay with that, or can you please not speak about those things with me, because that is your fear or that is your belief system, and I respect that that's yours, but I don't wish to speak about it. I don't wish to entertain that space, or whatever it is. Use your voice and use it lovingly, because when we use it lovingly, people are more open to go, okay. So that's connections with others. Then connection to something greater than self. I think it's just really powerful, no matter what your belief system is, to trust that there's something more than us going on here. You know, we have come from whatever you call your own source energy. We are a part of that. We don't return to that. We are that. It's like when you cut a piece of cake, like you make a cake and you cut a piece out, the whole cake is still cake and the piece out of the cake is still cake, right? It's all cake. And so we are part of that energy source. We are a spark from that. That's where we come from. And we must remember that we are the light as well. And so returning back into that and loving and nurturing that part. Yeah, I think that that's all sort of really important. And so then consistency, consistency, consistency. So just because I went for a run today and I don't do anything the rest of the week, it's like, oh, I went for a run last Monday and oh, well, maybe I'll do it like next week or something. I don't know, I can't be bothered. You're not going to get the benefits of it. It's the same as if you ate like super, super healthy today for lunch and you're like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to go get pizza and wine for dinner because, you know, I've just had like a really freaking tough week and I deserve it. That's not going to help. Consistency is key with anything. And when we commit to it, we see the results, and then that allows us to keep going. And so to be consistent, this is one of the first exercises I do with my clients on the very first consult that I do with them, is their why. Why are you doing this? Why have you come here to see me? Why do you want to prioritize your health? Oh, well, no one wants to be sick. Okay, so why don't you want to be sick? I think you need to ask yourself why at least 5 times to try and get to the bottom of your why. And when you really know what your why is, that will drive you to keep going forward. So for me, a little bit about my personal story. I had a thyroid condition and it was autoimmune, and I was told that I was going to have to get it cut out or essentially blown up, but it wouldn't be working and I'd have to be reliant upon thyroid medication for the rest of my life. And I sure as hell didn't want that. I remember leaving the endocrinologist's office and I was so upset. I was like, you know, when you're like really upset and you're like, your whole body's shaking. I couldn't even breathe and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, like I just felt like someone just gave me a goddamn death sentence. Like, shoot yourself or get someone else to shoot you. Or if you stay on the medication, you can die. It affects your white blood cell count. So it can lead to other issues. And I was like, oh, then die a slow death. Like, it sounded horrific to me. And so for me, that felt like my whole freedom had been ripped away from me. And so for me, health represents my freedom. You know, when we don't have health, we don't have the freedom to go and do what we want to do every day because we're having to deal with a health issue. And so that's, for me, that was my why. I wanted my freedom to live the life that I choose, to have the energy to live the life I choose, to have the health, because our health is our wealth, to live the life I choose, and to age gracefully. So I wanted to die of old age and not of an illness. I didn't want to be burdened with an illness. And so that was my why. And it was so strong in me to this day. I'm already 6 years into that journey, and it is just my number one value is health. And so it doesn't feel like, oh my God, I have to like eat this thing. Like it's not, I don't have the FOMO because my why is so strong. So ask yourself about your why. Like, why am I doing this? Then why, then why, then why, then why, then why? Really get into it, you know? And then put that as like your mantra or your affirmation on your bathroom mirror, and really feel it. When you're brushing your teeth every day, twice a day, read it to yourself and feel what that feels like in your body. What does it look like to you to have perfect health, to reach that goal for you? And remind yourself till it becomes a new habit, and it just becomes part of your whole identity, right? And then it doesn't feel like that it's a habit to do anymore. I think that was all my notes that I had to talk about. If anyone has questions,
we spoke about cravings before we hopped on and pressed record as well.
Okay, so when we start to clean up the diet, the mind does these really weird things. So when I started to clean up my diet, I did like a 6-month detox, and I was strict with it, and I had cravings for pasta through the roof, and I was not someone who had really eaten pasta even prior to this whole health journey that I went on. But I could have ran 5 miles down the street to go and get pasta. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, what is going on? And so that's what can happen, because within your stomach, I just thought of a few more things to talk about nutrition. So in your stomach, you have your gut biome. And so we have good and bad bacteria, but we need both. But we want the right balance. So you don't want like a heap of bad bacteria and not enough good. You want it to be the other way around. But they both play a role. So when we're resetting the gut through this whole detoxification process of eating really clean, that balance, it's almost like there's like a fight or something within your gut with the bad bacteria, and like the little bad bugs are like, where's the sugar? And they really drive those cravings, and it sends those signals. If you've heard of the gut-brain axis, it's because your stomach really is almost like your first brain, really, because it sends signals to the brain. And so often people who have depression or anxiety, when we heal the gut, those symptoms really dissipate, and they have, more positive feelings and thoughts when we heal the gut. So when it comes to the cravings, I try to help my clients through that, because they all get it. They're like, oh my God, I was just like craving dairy, like. And so sometimes cravings, when we think that we're hungry, we're not actually hungry, we're actually thirsty. But it's like the signaling is sort of misconstrued because you haven't quite understood your body's language yet. Our body is always talking to us, and it's actually not saying that it's hungry. It's saying, I'm dehydrated. So go and have some water. I find that warm water, for me personally, warm water is more comforting to knock out the craving that I may be having. And then putting lemon juice in, particularly if your craving is sugar. If your craving is salt, it probably doesn't work as well. You just need to have some water. But if you're someone who has a sweet tooth cravings, then putting lemon juice in, because anything bitter will cancel out the desire to have something sweet. And so it's like the opposite. So even if you could suck a lemon, it'll combat that sugar craving. The other thing is getting enough sleep. When we don't have enough sleep, then we make poor choices with a lot of things. I'm about to do a post on sleep, actually, and how important it is, because we get cravings when we're tired. We don't make decisions very clearly. It affects our mood. It's almost like being drunk when we haven't had enough sleep. And studies, I was reading all about this last night because I was writing a post. So there's a sleep specialist, Matthew Walker, he's incredible. And he says that there's only 3% of the population that can function on less than 7 hours sleep. Chances are you're not one of that 3%. So 97% of the population on the planet need a minimum of 7 to 9 hours sleep. Then even if we have one night of, say, 4 or 5 hours sleep, even just that one night, it decreases our natural killer cells, which is part of your immune system. And these immune cells, the NK natural killer cells, their job is to go and eat cancerous cells. We all have cancerous cells in their body, and these NK cells, they go to work and eat up the cancerous cells in our body to keep them low, right? So that we don't get sick. But one night of only 4 or 5 hours sleep, those NK cells decrease by 70%. That's huge, right? Just one night's sleep. And so prioritizing sleep is so important. And yes, it does. It will affect what you choose to eat. So your cravings. So you want to try and combat it with water because you're probably thirsty. Put lemon juice in there. Get enough sleep. Move your body. When we exercise, we feel better, and then we want to make healthier choices. And what was the other one? Reducing stress. So when we're stressed, we often want to like binge eat, or like we're reaching for food to pacify whatever that feeling is that we're feeling when we're stressed, you know. And what is the thing that's making us stressed? For a lot of us in this global, I don't even know what to call it, global mess at the moment, a lot of us are feeling the impact of that. And we're just like, God, just make it go away and make the noise go away, make the feeling go away, you know. Like, me too. Jesus, I have been meditating and chanting and journaling and moving my body. Like, usually I would only do those things once a day. No kidding you. I'm doing like 2 to 3 times a day at the moment to manage what is going on globally, because I'm an empath. I feel everything. And so I need to make sure that my practices are consistent, and I need to do them more often so that I stay in my center and look after myself. So yeah, reducing your stress. The other thing about nutrition that I forgot to put in there, apart from having bone broth every day, or if you're a vegan, your vegetable broth every day, fermented foods are incredible for topping up your good bacteria in your gut. And so they're called probiotics when we have fermented foods. So if you have kefir, if you're vegan, you're going to have coconut kefir. If you're not, I would suggest going for goat kefir. The protein structures in goat milk is way more gentle to our body than cow's milk. But having an animal milk for only your kefir, it allows the probiotics to get further down the GI tract than what a coconut kefir would. But if you're vegan, go for coconut kefir because it's better than nothing. So yeah, having fermented foods, your sauerkraut, kefir, what else? Kombucha. I'm a huge fan of sauerkraut, but having it every day. So that's your probiotic. Your probiotic is your good bacteria. Now the probiotic needs food, and that's called your prebiotic. And the best way to get your prebiotics is through your food. Like we spoke about, eat the rainbow, eat tons of variety, because all the little bugs, they all eat different foods. So this little guy, he might like purple carrots, and you probably only eat those purple carrots like twice a month. And he's like, Jesus, I'm starving over here. And so he's starting to like die off. So, you know, like trying to keep that variety in your diet. So don't buy the same vegetables every week. And, you know, pick up something different each week. Go and buy some artichoke. Go and buy some Brussels sprouts. Go and get some, what do they call that red stem spinach? I always forget the name of it. But yeah, the red stem spinach, the yellow and red stem spinach. I think it's
like
called
the rainbow shard.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
rainbow
I got that. I got that this week.
I know, how good is it?
So good.
Get some beetroots, make some beetroot dip and put that on some things, you know. Your dressings, make it really simple. Olive oil, salt and pepper, lemon juice, and then some fresh herbs. Put in a jar, shake it up, and pour that over your steamed vegetables. You'll be surprised how damn yummy steamed vegetables are when you put that simple dressing on things. You'll enjoy it. And then put like your nuts and seeds on. That'll be part of your variety as well, of all your different things. When you're wanting to get to 40 different fruits and vegetables each week, your nuts and seeds is included in that. And there was something else that I was going to speak to you guys about. Oh, so when it comes to, did I speak about this before, about when you reward yourself with food? I think I started to speak and I didn't get into it. So a lot of us, we think, oh, I did so well this week. I ate so well. And so I'm going to go have that pizza and that wine for Friday and some chocolate and maybe some ice cream. And, oh, well, I deserve it because I worked so well and I went for a run this week, you know. Don't reward yourself with food, because it's such a ingrained habit that is put into most of us from childhood. And it's not your parents' fault. Their parents did it to them, and then their parents did it to them, you know, and it could have come from, you know, is it the famine? What did we have in Australia after the war, like when there was a shortage of food and stuff? And that might be, oh, my phone, sorry. That might be why they reward with food, because it was such a rare commodity, right? So, but when we reward with food, I'm just disrupted by that phone. It's just not a good habit to have when we reward with food, or trying to make that feeling go away. Like I said, when we stress eat. So choosing something that is going to, like if eating those crisps or having that ice cream, think about, how does that make me feel? What else can I do that is going to give me that same feeling? Does going for a walk, or playing an instrument, or sitting down and drawing, or going into the kitchen and cooking, like if cooking's therapeutic for you, whatever it is, or running a bath, meditation, go and sing, call a friend, watch a funny movie, something else, an activity, as opposed to rewarding with food, because that's just it's not supportive of a healthy lifestyle. And then it just creates a cyclical bad habit, you know, because you're like, oh, I'm just going to have the chocolate. And then some of us, we can't leave the chocolate bar, or we can't leave the packet of crisps. We can't just have a little bit, got to have the whole lot, you know. And then we feel shit about it, and then it's like another vicious cycle. So yeah, I think that was all the things that I had thought about. Is there any questions that you had? Gee, I can talk.
Amazing. So good. I love how you're just like, okay, here we go, guys. Like,
I've been there.
Like everything now. We forgot to mention at the start, but I'll put it in comments, like the captioning, wherever I put it. Pen and paper. Get that gold. I was even thinking during it, I was like, yeah, I should have taken some notes. And like, I think you've answered the questions that I had, because I was going to bring it back around to the variety, linking into the gut health and some of those things.
For gut health, gluten and dairy, they're so not friends with optimal health. They're not they don't promote strong gut health, which is, like I explained, that's where everything comes from. But also, and if any of the women in your group have thyroid issues, they're absolutely not friends with your thyroid. That's two things that are non-negotiable. And the other thing that I didn't mention was hydration. So many people are dehydrated. They don't drink enough water. Like nearly every client that comes to me, I've had one that drank way too much water, but most of them don't drink enough water. And so the best thing is, when you wake up in the morning, one of the first things that you do is try and drink 500 mils of water. So you might not be able to start there. You might think, oh God, I just feel sick like having that much water. Start with 1 cup, and then push it to 2 cups, and then push it to 3 cups. But what that does is it helps your liver to flush toxins. So when we go to sleep is when your liver goes to work, and your liver's job is to cleanse the body of toxins. And in the morning, in your first urination, this is part of why your urine is so dark. 1, you haven't been drinking for 8 hours. But 2, it's working a lot of the toxins out of the body. And so we want to help the liver to do that. And so we drink water to help flush. So that's super, super important.
And when you say enough, like what is enough in a day?
Depending on the size of the person, but it's generally around 2 litres to some people, it could be close to 3 litres, but it's generally 2 to 2.5 litres for most people. So if you carry, like I carry a water bottle, and then I know I drink 2 of those every day, and then I know that I've had my 2 litres. I generally drink probably closer to 2.5, 2.8, but that's me. I'm tall, I'm 5'11". But yeah, so even if you just get to 2 litres, that's pretty good. I don't know if...
And what's too much when you spoke about the person who had too much?
Like 4 litres. I had a client who, she had so many nutrient deficiencies, and then when we talked about her water intake, she's like, oh yeah, I would drink tons of water. I was like, yeah, you do drink tons of water. So then you are flushing out your vitamins and minerals in your body, so you're not having enough. Another little neat trick though, if you're not absorbing enough water, or you find it challenging to drink water, like you don't like the taste of it, drop a tea bag, drop a herbal tea bag in there. Dandelion tea, I get most of my clients on that. It helps with your liver health. Everyone's liver needs love and nurture. And dandelion tea is just a really gentle herb to do that, dandelion. So just pop it into your drink bottle if you like the taste of it. Another way is putting like a little pinch of quality salt. So you want Himalayan, Celtic, or rock salt. Don't go for table salt. It's toxic. Just put a tiny little pinch, even like in 1 liter, just put a tiny pinch of that in. For some reason, it just makes your water taste really different. It's like, I don't know, it's just like feels smoother or something, but you're also replacing minerals. Yeah, I could talk for hours about this sort of stuff. Love it.
So good.
So
It's so good.
But yeah, just coming back to simplicity. Most of the time, health is not about what we put in, but what we sort of take out. You know, a lot of us are doing things that try and remove the stress or reduce the stress, remove the shitty foods, you know, get off your butt. Sometimes it is what you're doing, but yeah, and start where you're at. Just start where you're at. You don't need to like tick all the boxes straight away. Like what is really calling to you to focus on first, and then do that, and then move to the next thing. Like I didn't get to where I'm at overnight either. Like I didn't know about the Dirty Dozen when I started doing my cleanse, you know, when I got sick, and I didn't know about drinking filtered water, which is another really huge thing. Actually, I can probably give you my discount code if anyone, bless you, I felt that. If anyone wanted to get a quality water filter, I personally use and love Southern Cross Pottery water filter, and they have a fluoride filter. And you want to get fluoride out of your diet, get fluoride out of your toothpaste as well. But I have a discount code, so I can give that to you as well. It's 10% off. It's not a lot, but it helps. And
sure.
I just think it's the most aesthetically nice looking water filter, and one that works as well. So they've got the fluoride filter there.
Yeah.
Sorry, and I probably cut off your question.
Amazing. No, I was just going to say, like thinking also about what Bronte said about self-love. Like I know health can become a like, oh, I have to do this and I'm not good enough if I don't do that, and I haven't had enough of this, and just keeping it fun, keeping it light. For those of you guys who are watching this from the mastermind, you know how to gamify things, make it fun, make it a challenge, make it a game for yourself, and really enjoy it. Like the rainbow, who doesn't love to look at their plate and go, oh my God, it's so nice, versus like, oh, it's brown and yellow. Like, you know, it's awesome to just enjoy it and know that it is a practice in self-love, and all of the things that Bronte's talked about. It's like, if you can get this for yourself, that can help you set boundaries in other areas of your life. It can help you to hold your own in a culture that is like, oh, it's been such a tough week, let's all go out for drinks after work, you know, and you can be like, hey, like, I don't want to feel like shit tomorrow, and I love myself, so I'm just going to have water, but I can still enjoy a good time. And that just builds so much more in other areas of your health and wellness outside of what we've just talked about, like, you know, food and those kinds of things. That just helps you be healthier on the whole as well, and more of your true self. So
yeah,
yes, it's all amazing. I'm just like, yes every time.
Love thyself, heal thyself, like, yeah, and listen to your own intuition. Like, you know what's best for you, you know. And I say that to all my clients. Just because I'm sitting here in the naturopath seat, it doesn't mean I have all the answers for you. I can teach you what I know, and then what you do with that is up to you, but you generally know what's best for your body. And when we start to reset these foundations, you'll be so pleasantly surprised of how much more in tune you get to be with your body. Like, I'm at a point now I can touch a fruit or vegetable and energetically know whether that's in alignment with my body. Whereas 6 years ago, when I started my journey, there's no way I would have been able to do that, because I was just so out of tune. Like, and that's when you know, when you heal your gut and you have a healthy gut and you have these consistent healthy practices, yeah, you could just be more in tune with what is best for you. And your intuition will guide you where you need to go. They'll guide you to whatever practitioner you need to see, or some healer, or just an article or a book that you're going to buy that you're just like, oh my gosh, that book changed my life. Is when we get in tune with our own intuition and that internal guidance system.
Yeah, perfect. Cool. So guys, if you're not connected with Bronte, you can find her on her website. I'll get her to give you all the details, social media, website, all that jazz, so you can hook up with her, and we'll put that in the captions, comments, wherever it lands, whatever platform you want.
Cool. This was
Cool.
fun.
Yeah, it was really good. And also, if you've got questions, Bronte's amazing. Like, I know she'll be open to you if you want to reach out, email, Instagram, whatever, about any of the stuff that she's talked about here today as well. Thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks for asking me to come and talk about this. Love it.
No worries. It's been so cool.